I'll ask the manufacturer, if you don't mind me asking, who's doing this work at these prices? Mega carriers are really flushing out everybody out of this industry. Are you guys feeling it? Because I'm definitely feeling it. I feel like the mega carriers are slowly killing out the small fleets and the owner-operators. Let me explain. In this video, I want to talk about the advantages that mega carriers have over small fleets. And we, the little guys, yes, I consider myself still a little guy, it's actually getting harder and harder for us to compete in this business. So let me explain. Number one, let's talk about fuel discounts. So mega carriers have anywhere between 40 to 80 cents off per gallon through their fuel cards. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's not what we're getting here at ET Transport. So we, the little guys, spend a lot more money on fuel than these mega carriers, so they already have a competitive advantage over us. I mean, sometimes when we walk into a new customer, we don't understand how in the world are they getting the prices that they're getting. You know, we bid on freight and they're saying, oh, sorry, you know what, we pay $1.60 per mile or $1.65 per mile. And sometimes, very rarely, I'll ask the manufacturer, if you don't mind me asking, who's doing this work at these prices? And they'll give me a couple of company names, and I'm like, oh wow, you know, we're way off on prices. I mean, we'd be probably around $2.10, $2.15 a mile, and they're coming back to us that, sorry, we get these lanes covered at $1.60 or $1.65. So obviously the mega carriers have a competitive advantage over us on fuel discounts. Now, just so you guys understand, okay, if I take this discount, so the national average for diesel right now is $4.10 per gallon. Now, if you apply an 80-cent discount, that's $3.30 per gallon. Now, we're not paying anywhere near that. Yes, we're getting discounts at the pump, but we're not getting 80 cents off. So that's their competitive advantage number one. All right, now let's talk about insurance. So insurance, large mega carriers are self-insured, and they pay anywhere between $9,000 to $12,000 per year per truck when they self-insure. Now, I don't know about you guys, but we're nowhere near those rates. When I consult owner-operators that want to open up their own fleet, or they want to start expanding their fleet, or they want to get into the industry, we talk about insurance. And realistically, for a new entrant into the market right now, you're probably looking at a premium of about $25,000 a year for year number one. Year number two, it might go down to about $20,000, but nowhere near are they getting $12,000 per year. Okay, so that's competitive advantage number two. Now, when you're talking about a fleet of 10 or a fleet of 15, okay, you guys can do the math really quickly, right? $1,000 per month per truck for a mega carrier versus $2,000 per truck per month for a small fleet. Now, these numbers for small fleets are only going higher and higher, making it even harder for us to compete. All right, so the third place where mega carriers have a competitive advantage is obviously their financing rates. Okay, so mega carriers will probably finance trucks, trailers, flatbeds, you name it, anything that they need financing for, anywhere between 3 to 5%. Now, the bigger the carrier, obviously, the closer they are to that 3. Now, for us as a fleet owner, even ET Transport, we're probably financing equipment at around 5.8, 5.9, 5.4%. Okay, now the smaller the fleet is, obviously the higher you're paying, but most owner operators out there, they're probably paying anywhere between 10 to 12% for equipment financing. And if you are a fleet that has 10, 15 power units, you're probably financing at around 8 to 9%. If you take a $200,000 truck and you slap on 10% versus 3.25%, that is a huge difference, especially when you're talking about multiple units, multiple flatbeds, multiple reefers, right? So that's their competitive edge number 3, and it's a very big edge. Now, when you start adding up the insurance, the fuel, the equipment cost, now you can see how they get to that $1.65 and how they are kind of kicking out the small fleets to not be competitive anymore. But that's not the only 3 advantages that they have. There's more, and I'm getting to it. The next one, which is a huge one, is repairs and maintenance. Now, mega carriers that have tens of thousands of power units or even a few thousand power units, they have multiple locations. Now, if you have multiple locations and multiple repair facilities, well, the cost of repairs, you've just sliced that into about 1/3. Let me break down the numbers for you. Now, when we go to a Freightliner dealership, when we have a breakdown on the road, when we have a problem with a hose or with a line or with an airbag, the hourly labor rates out there in the US, I mean, I've done some videos just on labor rates in the US. I mean, they're climbing up to about $150 to $225 an hour, sometimes even $250 an hour. Now, owner-operators, those are the rates that they pay if they're not in their home base or home terminal. Now, we have a shop here at ET Transport where we have, 6 or 7 mechanics. That brings down the cost significantly. Now, when you have multiple locations all over the US and even Canada, that brings the rates down even more. Red Seal mechanics get about, $40 to $60 an hour, and other mechanics probably get $30 to $40 an hour, and that's what they're paying. So it's parts plus $30, $40 an hour, where owner-operators and small fleets, they're paying that $150, $175 an hour. That is a huge competitive advantage that they have over the little guys. The last thing we're going to talk about is their buying power. So let's take these Cascadias for example. Now, if I am an owner operator and I walk into a dealership, the price of this Cascadia will probably be around $185,000, maybe $175,000 US. Now, as a fleet, I'm probably buying them at $165,000. Now, if I am a mega carrier, probably buying them at around $150,000. You multiply that by 100 trucks, 200 trucks, 500 trucks, that is a huge saving. Not only that, but remember we talked about that interest rate? The interest rate on $150,000 versus the interest rate on $185,000 makes a huge difference. Now, we're not just talking about trucks, we're talking about trailers, we're talking about flatbeds, we're talking about reefers. Their buying power gives them leverage over these OEMs. If a trucking company can guarantee 100, 200 power units every single year, you better believe they're getting a much bigger discount than me and you are when walking into a dealership. All right, and the last thing we're going to talk about is a mega carrier's ability to wait it out. I mean, they have all the funding in the world. They can wait this out for the next year, for the next 18 months, for the next 24 months, while people get flushed out of the market. They're going to make their money once it turns around. Now, they can run their fleet at $1.65 or $1.70 per mile and still be profitable, a little bit profitable, but they can carry this out and they can withhold and withstand this for a long time, where me and you, we'd probably get flushed out of this market a long time ago. Now, it's been like this for about 18 months. How much more of this are we going to be able to tolerate? I don't know, but what I do know is that there are a lot of little guys with 50 trucks, 40 trucks, 30 trucks, even the 100 trucks, even ET Transport that are currently suffering, and it's hard for them to survive. Why? Because obviously the cash flows are stranded, because we need to run our trucks at $2.10 or $2.15 in order to be profitable. We cannot afford to run our trucks at $1.65 because $1.65 will put us in the red. Now, I've done a lot of load booking videos for you guys out there where people are paying $1.20 a mile, $1.30 a mile, $1.60 a mile. People are actually running their trucks at a loss today. Okay, so I wanted to take the time to explain to you guys out there what's happening and how mega carriers are really flushing out everybody out of this industry. Now, if I missed some points, please feel free to put them in the comments below. But hopefully you learned something from this video. I'm Ronen, and I'd love to hear some of your comments, and I'll catch you in my next video.